everyone, and welcome to my first ever stream. Well, my second ever, but I buggered up my first one, so let's try again. This is all about the season review of my Aberdeen game. Hopefully you've been following the story on FMB. But anyway, we'll get right to the point. This is the season review of 2021-32 season. And we'll start off with the SPL, since the screen's loaded anyway. Here we are, Aberdeen won the league comfortably. In the end, it was quite close in the middle, with Celtic and Rangers both putting up a challenge. Hearts were a bit of a letdown really, finishing so far behind, almost half the points of ourselves. Kilmarnock and St Johnstone shouldn't be finishing in the bottom half. And Motherwell and Livingston were fighting out at the bottom. Although arguably Dundee United were worse because they finished just up the road, 8 points more. But look at their top scorer, 29 goals. If he was playing for Livingston or Motherwell, they would have probably been safe. And we'll move on to the Scottish Cup. This is my biggest letdown of this season. We went out in our first round to Celtic. And we'll load it up in the 5th round because that was the first round after I went out. Celtic, I'm sure, went out here. Yep, there we are, 2-1 to Hibs, who then went out to Dundee United, who went out to Kilmarnock, who lost to Ross County. So really, the lower you were, the worse you were in that draw. Anyway, Ross County, first time they win the Scottish Cup, well done to them, good old Highlanders. Here's the League Cup, which we won. Now let's go back to the quarterfinals. Celtic and Rangers both went out there. Hearts with another strong team left, and they faltered. Dundee winning in extra time. And we beat them in the final, despite the best efforts of my former striker. Nothing worse than a former player coming back to haunt you. Next up, I'm going to show you my match of the season. I'm going about the most awkward way you could ever find to do it. Here we are. It's really early on in the season. Stupid thing. Here we are. Match at Stirling, the First Division champions in the League Cup. They showed all their striking powers that they'll be bringing to the SPL next season. I don't think they'll be scoring 4 very often, but anyway, they did today. But it wasn't enough to overcome our youth team. Several who have made regular appearances in the first team since then. And on to a slightly bigger contest. My favourite, the Champions League. There's your winners this year, Juventus in extra time over Leverkusen. How did this end up happening? Well, let's go back to the quarterfinals. I was knocked out in the stage before this. The team that beat me, Bayern, were knocked out by Leverkusen. They eventually made their way to the final, where they lost to Juventus, who are the first Italian team to win it since I started playing. Bit of a surprise there, isn't it? And now, let's go down a level to the Europa League. This competition was horrific this season. Porto, deserved winners. So back to the second knockout stage, there's Celtic falling apart against Seville. Arsenal were the only other big team going about. Yeah, so poor tournament there. So now on to the main part of my season review is seeing how Aberdeen and Scotland are doing. To do this, we will have a look at competition rank. SPL and Scottish Cup both move up a bit, that's good. Who fell drastically on oops. Oh, who cares. We'll move on to the club list, because that's also important. We're only 4th there, however, that's our reputation. But we're still clinging on to top spots, but this season's poor effort in the Champions League could cost us that come next year. And we really need to wise up in the Cup. It's 2 poor seasons we've had there. Now we move on to national. This is what we're really after here. Scotland are 7th just now, just ahead of Russia, but still a good bit behind France. Russia are all set to overtake us again. The reason we want that 6th spot is, look at the difference. An extra Champions League place and an